Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. And before I go forward, I do want to mention I am on vacation. So if my responses through DMs or private messages are a bit on the slower side, forgive me. I'm not really at my desk consistently. However, I will be still doing the daily updates. I still will be also making sure to keep my eye on the markets. If we are going to exit any positions or we're going to open any positions, I will still make sure to do that. Okay, so it should feel like I haven't really left. But if you do private message me and I'm not as fast in my response, just give me a little bit extra time than normal. Be patient with me, but I will get to those questions or whatever you're asking me in those DMs. Okay, so it's the crypto recap, but we're gonna start with Target. Okay, so Target, if you're not in the U.S., is a major retailer in the U.S. And they had their earnings report, and it was abysmal, very very bad. Okay, not good numbers, and they mainly attributed because of the rise in inflation, and that is what catapulted the markets to go down. All right, so all markets went down. The U.S. markets opened up red. They stayed red pretty much the entire day, and of course, crypto followed. All right. So why am I starting with this chart? Because I do want to explain something. The inflation fears are real, and they will get worse. Okay. I'm not telling you something you haven't heard. They will get worse. My evidence that they will get worse, if you look on the Discord, I posted that the Federal Reserve is funneling a ton of money. They're actually breaking records with the amount of money they're funneling into the repo markets. Okay, I'm not going to go into exactly what the repo markets are. It's a very long conversation, but suffice to say, it means that they're trying to get in front of inflation. All right, they're trying to get in front of the rise of inflation, and usually what that means is they are too late to the party. All right, they're always reactionary. So the inflation for the next CPI numbers, they're going to hope is down, and it's likely going to be higher. So this is the markets reacting to Target and Walmart. By the way, Walmart also had a very bad report. They didn't sell off as much as Target, but this company is a canary in the coal mine in retailers' inflationary woes and how the consumer is really reacting to it. All right. This company, which is massive, dropped almost 30% at the low. Walmart dropped anywhere from I think 10 to 15%. And to put in perspective, these companies themselves are massive. They dwarf countries in value. It's humongous. So when they have these big drops, it's really unheard of, unprecedented in some cases. Okay, but markets are emotional, and yes, the numbers were bad, but they weren't bad enough for Target to drop 30%. And that's why at the end of the day, you start seeing a buy up, and it's likely for the next day, 2, maybe 3 or 4 days going into next week, you may see Target kind of veer to the upside. Same with the NASDAQ, same with the Dow, same with the S&P 500. Because yes, the sentiment and the fundamentals are matching. But when that happens, that means things have swayed too fast, too far on one direction, and the retailers are on the right side too soon. Okay? So you're going to see the market whipsaw higher going into next week, most likely. And mind you, the markets in the end, by the end of this year, will likely be lower than where they are now. So I agree with the overall sentiment that we are in a bear market, we are in a recession, and we're going to, probably fall into a deep, deep recession by the end of the year. It does not mean that we need to go down to, sub COVID levels right now. That's not how these charts work. That's not how markets work. The point of the markets is to take retail's money as much as possible, and to demoralize them, not so much that they won't put more money in. Okay, so you're going to likely see a light rise and then a continuation lower. Same with Walmart, and that's why if you are a member, I took a stab at Walmart today. All right. Of course, it can go lower, and that's why we we buy our levels. We don't go all in immediately. All right. So let's go to NASDAQ real quick before I go to crypto. All right. So again, We see the NASDAQ bounced beautifully off the descending channel here, made it to the green box. My target, and it still is the top of the green box or this median line of the channel, this descending channel. And we had a massive sell-off today, obviously because of the inflation woes that were demonstrated out of Target and Walmart. And I believe this is oversold. Okay, so what's likely going to happen is we're probably going to come a little lower. It could take the rest of this week. It could just be a day or two, which is technically rest of this week. But we will likely see a nice bounce higher. Okay, and what I've been saying, we are, in my opinion, in the process of making descending wedges all over the market. All right, and descending wedges, which are bullish in probability, they need to veer downside. All right, they need to chug to the downside. All right, so we're gonna see if next, let's say tomorrow, we start breaking under this channel, then this is invalid. All right, it's not going to be a descending wedge. We're just going to continue the trend lower. The probabilities don't lean that way. They don't lean that way. Even though it doesn't lean that way, doesn't mean it won't happen. But they don't lean that way. I have to stick with what's most likely. What's most likely is we're either going to get a small downturn going pretty much on top of the descending trend line here, or we're going to start floating higher. Okay, so we have to wait and see. We don't have all the answers yet. We don't have the full picture yet, but know that we're still within the structure. We're still within the structure to go higher in the short term. In the mid to long term, we're probably going much lower. Same with crypto, by the way. So Bitcoin. So let's get to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, very emotional. I've been watching social medias when I can. People think it's the end. I've been seeing this like Head and Shoulders thing. It's not a Head and Shoulders because Head and Shoulders are topping patterns. Okay, so reason why it's not Head and Shoulders, you can't have a Head and Shoulders from a drop that's happened 50%. Now this doesn't mean the structure's not bearish. So I want to make this very clear. This can mean we're going to see more downside. Okay. But you can't call it Head and Shoulders because Head and Shoulders are topping patterns. They come at the end of an uptrend. It's very important that's recognized. All right, you're not going to have a Head and Shoulders appear when you're talking about a trend downward. All right, again, doesn't mean the structure's not bearish. You can call it Head and Shoulders if that helps you identify it, but if you're using classical TA, it's not. All right, to me, this is just an immature wedge pattern. All right, so what we had here forming is an immature wedge pattern that broke bullish and now has come back to the trend line of the top trend line of that descending wedge. Okay, it's immature, so with the breakage wasn't really, I would say, it didn't have much resolve behind it, and now it's back on top of this trend line, which then has the added support of the horizontal support here of 28,900, 29,000, however you want to shake this. So this general area. So what I believe is going to happen, again, basically from my thesis of what I'm, observing from the NASDAQ, is we're likely going to get another float up higher. Okay, getting back to 30,000, and then we may start oscillating again. All right, and we have to give this time. We don't have the full answers yet, and we are long. So okay, we're currently long. We're either mine or red. I think with Bitcoin we're down about 4%, 3%, and then all our other altcoin positions are either flat or slightly in the red or slightly in the green. We're kind of going up and down there. So if it does come lower, we have our buy levels. I've said in previous videos, 25,000 zone will definitely add on to the long. And if it goes lower than that, then we're definitely be adding on heavier as we get towards 20,000. Okay. So that's why, again, I've always, pretty much beat it in, follow my risk management. You don't have to follow it one-to-one. I know we have different accounts, but you want to follow my general thesis of slowly DCAing into positions because, in my opinion, it's the way you become consistently profitable the easiest. Okay, and it helps you enjoy trading, at least in my opinion, because you don't have as much risk per trade. All right, so we're gonna see how this develops. Let's go to the daily real quick. Again, see, this is why I'm saying I don't believe this is a fully mature pattern yet. Okay, because off the 4 hour we can see that this was somewhat of a descending wedge, immature. Okay, and it did have a nice breakage above, and now it's kind of holding through, oscillating around it. Whereas the daily, I do see the possibility of more downside coming back towards this level here, so towards 27,000 to 27.5. We don't want to see this level broken, so the bottom wick here at 26,500, we'll say. If that happens, then it's very likely we're going to continue the trend down, and we're going to next hit 25,000 to 24,000. Okay, so if you want this structure to hold, this bottom wick should be held. If it's not, then we're going to go to our lower add-on levels. Okay, in my opinion, we're likely going to make another decent drop towards 28,000, maybe 27.5, 27,000, and then if it is going to be a downward wedge like I'm seeing, then we may have a curl back up coming into this major resistance zone, and then eventually break higher towards 33, 34K, or this blue line, this descending blue line. All right. So again, we're just gonna keep our eye on it. There's no need to stress about it. If it goes lower, goes lower. We have our plan. If it goes higher, then we'll rake in the profit, and can't ask for more than that. All right. So let's take a quick look at Avalanche. Just another position we're in. Let's go to the daily. So like I would say, Avalanche is gonna have a lot of trouble off this line here. This is going to be pretty much like its node of activity. I believe that this descending trend line will act as Avalanche's just pretty much like its branch to hold on to as it goes lower and lower and lower. I think you'll find it to break out higher if my thesis about Bitcoin's falling wedge actually forms into maturity and confirms. Okay, but of course we just have to observe it. It's going to be very similar to Bitcoin, but I do not see this having any breakout to the upside anytime soon until Bitcoin shows that gumption. I actually do see Avalanche having a nice drop going towards 25 bucks again. All right, whether it holds there or not, we have to see. But this trend line, this descending trend line, is going to be very significant, very significant. And $20 to $18, it's going to be pretty decent support. So how long that may hold, I have to see the price action. It depends on how fast this drops into it. But in my opinion, if it breaks under $20 going into $18 within, let's say, tomorrow, it's likely going to go lower towards $15 and maybe even $14, $13. It really is dependent on Bitcoin. But Avalanche looks pretty good to drop a little bit lower. Okay, and if it can break past this trend line here, then I actually do see it. I think $40 short term, but I actually do see a move back to $50 being pretty likely. Let's see, Ethereum. So Ethereum, Ethereum fighting on top of major support. Descending trend line currently, had shown some respect to that. We'll see if it gets back down there at some point, but 1800 is going to be, fairly significant for Ethereum. And if it does hold that level as it comes into 1800, again, that makes the likelihood of a descending wedge pattern pretty strong. Okay, pretty strong. So if you can't see the descending wedge, just look at the horizontal line, and then look at the descending trend line. You'll see the wedge. Okay, that's similar to what's going on with Bitcoin as well. Similar to what's going on with Bitcoin. Again, it's immature because we don't know, as of now, if we're seeing this pivot form like this. Okay, which is what I'm thinking here. This pivot forming like this, and we should get more price action within, or if we're going to see another drop to the low here to possibly make a nice, drop, another nice pivot low down here. All right, so it's a little undecided. We don't really have all the puzzle pieces yet. And same with Ethereum. Okay. So if this breaks higher, I think 2,000 to 2,500 is very likely. I see 2,500 or 2,400, I should say, getting hit pretty quickly if it does confirm a breakthrough. Okay, and if it goes lower, then we're gonna be looking at this descending trend line as possible add-on levels, or at least give us a general map of how vicious the drop we should eventually expect. Eventually, I do see Ethereum getting to sub 1,500. All right, so let's see Solana. Solana again, yep, very similar. I actually thought I thickened this out. Let me make that thick again. Okay, so yeah, very significant support, resistance line. And again, what pattern do you possibly see forming here if Solana, plays out the structure? It's a descending wedge. All right, so if it can successfully hold above 38, 39 bucks, and it holds within under this trend line, then we can say, all right, we possibly have a descending wedge, which has a probability to break bullish. All right, and the first target level would be 60 bucks, and then of course 75, $80. All right, if it goes lower, we have our levels. I'd be interested maybe at 30 bucks, but 20, any as close to $22, I would try and get in for sure. Let's see, Link $7. Yeah, okay, so Link also showing it looks decent to come lower, at least getting back to $6.50, depending on how today closes. About an hour and a half left, and if it comes down lower, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Link coming lower. Link, it feels as if it has a lot more selling to do, and I think $5 is a really attractive place to try and accumulate Link. So I would not be surprised if there's a lot of buy orders here, being very, very patient for it to come lower. Yeah, so do not be surprised if we see Link go lower. If we do start seeing these coins start veering higher like this, then it's definitely more bearish in the short term. Just saying. So if we do that's horribly drawn. But if we do start seeing these altcoins have another veer higher, breaking like a day today's high, going into the weekend, then I'm gonna start being more bearish in the short term, for sure. Okay. So we have to, again, it's very immature. It's one of the reasons why I didn't do a video yesterday. There just isn't enough information to come to any full conclusions yet, and you all know the levels that I'm looking at for our add-ons and such. So it's one of the reasons why I ended up not doing a video yesterday. I was also very busy, as I said, going on vacation and stuff. Let's see, Cardano's interesting. Cardano's pretty oversold. Just again, it's not percentage wise pretty similar to its peers, but mainly just how vicious the drop was for Cardano. So if it does come lower, I do see it slowing down quite a bit. Again, unless Bitcoin has a massive sell-off, which is definitely possible. But 50 cents is going to be very attractive. And then going back towards 35 cents, 38 cents, that's going to have a lot of demand as well. But I do see this slowing down, personally. I do see this slowing down. I would be pretty surprised if this breaks back under 40 cents. I can definitely see it get back towards it, though. And again, if it does want to follow the structure that I'm seeing, then we might end up seeing a nice little wedge pattern here. But Cardano is really, really oversold. Really oversold. All right, and I think that's everything I'm going to go over today. Because not much has changed in regards to our general overlook on the markets. But I did want to touch on some things in the equity markets, especially like Target and Walmart, and then the NASDAQ, of course, because in the end, Bitcoin's going to follow the NASDAQ. All right, this is what Bitcoin's going to follow. This is the entity, if you want to call it an entity, but really the sector, the industry that's running the crypto markets, because Bitcoin is still looked upon as a risk-on asset, as just another tech asset. So it's gonna follow with high correlation to these markets, and again, we'll see how the NASDAQ starts performing for the rest of the week going into next week. This day was very rough, so I would not be surprised if tomorrow, as we open for the next trading day, that we do have more downside, and we'll see if the markets can actually hold the bottom of this channel. If they can't, then we're coming lower. Okay, we're coming lower. And if that's troubling to you, what have I been saying more than anything? Control your risk. Control your risk, because what is happening here is not to be frightened by. This is all opportunity. It's opportunity to make our position better and to find higher probable levels to enter our trade. Okay? All right. So, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.